So if someone needs a kidney transplant and there's like only one person on the world that can like provide the kidney, is it still in the government's right to like force that person to give up a kidney? In the same way, like, is it in the government's right to force a woman to like give up her like uterus for 9 months to support a fetus that eventually becomes a human?
That's the violinist argument. The whole thought experiment is you're walking around the streets one day, you get kidnapped, you wake up in a hospital bed, you look down, you're connected with wires to another human being. The Society of Music Lovers has kidnapped you because there's a world famous violinist who's this worldwide treasure and has this debilitating disease. He is going to die and you are the only person on the face of this earth who can keep him alive. But don't worry, in 9 months he's gonna be all good and you can get unhooked, right? That's the whole argument. So, and that's supposed to be analogous to abortion, right? A woman having to give up the space in her uterus for a human being. I think what that analogy, that thought experiment fundamentally lacks is acknowledging the difference between stranger and the woman and the child and the woman. Because that's, unless you're talking about cases of sexual assault, a woman has given consent to get pregnant because she has chosen to engage in a behavior that could result in pregnancy. She may not want to get pregnant, but she knowingly entered into a decision knowing that a consequence of that decision could be the creation of a unique, whole, living human life. So that's actually, when we're talking about that, it's actually like her giving consent and then taking it away and saying, oh, no, just kidding, I'm not going to do that. So I think it's fundamentally different than you or me, like strangers, and what we're morally required to do. I would say that's fundamentally different. I think it would be a very nice thing if you were kidnapped and you gave up 9 months of your life to save another human life. I'm looking at some people in this room, you look like very nice people, you may do it. And some of you don't look so nice, and you'd say, sorry, I like you, stranger, but I'm not giving up 9 months of my life. But that's a fundamentally different relationship than a mother and her own child, because she is already, unless it's, like I said, unless it's a case of sexual assault, she has given consent and has engaged in a behavior. It's also different, too, simply unplugging than actively killing. And I think that's a difference, too. Because in that case, you would be actively just unplug, you would remove your support. And abortion, that child is safe, that child is secure, is growing inside of his or her mother, and you're not just removing your support, you're actively going in with a suction device, with a curette, you're going in with pills to starve. You are going in to intentionally end the life of the human being. It's different.
So also by that standard of like when a woman engages in sexual activity in like a heterosexual relationship, and it's she's like you said, like revoking consent in that aspect, would it then be considered pregnancy as like can be considered like a punishment by that standard? Just like
she may call it punishment. I believe Barack Obama called unintended pregnancy a punishment for his daughters at one point. I would say it's not a punishment because, as I talked about earlier, women are superheroes because we can do 3 things men can't do. Pregnancy is not a punishment. There's punishments and things that happen, consequences, but I would say it's never a punishment, bringing a unique, whole, living human life into an existence. It could be painful, but it's not a punishment.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.